I've got quite a bit done with the framing. Well, I've done some anyway. I decided to go for the brackets. It just seemed like a better idea. They're pretty solid. This doesn't move at all at the bottom, but there's not really anything to attach it at the top to. I've just sort of wedged it in place with a little extra bit just here for now, and I'm using sort of by screwing it into the other side, it sort of holds it in position. So I've got another bracket here. The insulation I'm planning to put up here is going to be 150mm, which I've measured from here, the indented bit, because I need to make sure, I've actually gone a little bit smaller than that as well, I need to make sure it's compressed up against the metal, because otherwise if I end up with an air gap, it's going to, I'm going to get condensation in the little gap and it's going to drip down water. So yeah, it goes across to the other side, exactly the same thing again, same brackets on the floor. But the more I look at it, I'm just looking down the container, comparing, or thinking about where I can put these other spaces. So what I've done is put them in the, go down the other side, in the corrugation, so they're in the recessed bits like that. Now I've got one of these pieces here, it's a little bit less wide, and it goes all the way up to the roof. I don't know whether, I think it could be a better idea to do it like this. Put this on the bits that are sticking out, do brackets on the floor again. This is just propped up for having a look, because then regardless of what dents you've got on the outside of the container, you can put them anywhere. Because there's a pretty big dent somewhere there's a big dent there that's inside one of the corrugations, so it sticks it right out. It's very hard to see actually. So there's a sticking out bit there, sticking out bit there. This should be recessed, but there's a big bump here, so you couldn't fit a piece of wood in there. However, regardless of whatever dents there are, you can always fit one on these tall bits. So, I mean, I would like to, if I do get another container someday, have sort of a blueprint, so to speak, for all of them. Do exactly the same thing. And I don't know what kind of condition they might be in. I might buy one that's all dented on these bits, which not, it's not unlikely. So, I don't know whether to sacrifice what I've already done and try that way. It just needs a bit more thinking, I think. Okay, so I've had a go at doing the frame a different way. These bits of timber are designed for sort of stud wall work, so I figure it makes sense to use them for this kind of thing. So yeah, I've just got the one bracket into the floor, all the way up, measured the distance from here, because this is where the plywood will be attached, up to the tallest bit, 150mm. That's the thickness of the insulation. I figure I'll do one of these every sort of, get my torch on, it's still hard to see, one of these, skip one of the bumps, do it onto the next corrugation, and the distance between there and there is actually very similar to the width of the insulation I'm buying. So yeah, I think this could be the way to do it. I've done the other side as well. The ends are going to be a little bit tricky because there's these little reinforcement pins that are welded in. But I think I should be able to do it, especially if I put timbers across the top like a stud wall would have and screw through that way, so they're all connected along. And by doing it this way, it means I can have the vents uncovered, because I've put the vent in the middle of two posts. So I can put like a duct or something through and use the vent for a shower vent, or well, just generally running cables in and out and that kind of thing to avoid drilling extra holes. Okay, I've made quite a bit of progress, I feel, on the container. You'll have to excuse the big spot of my head torch. I wonder if that's better. Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, I've been cracking on getting the bits of the frame in, so just got a few more to go. It seems to be going quite well. Haven't really had any major problems yet. The only thing I've run into is down on the floor down here. Which one is it? That one there. This is where this is one floorboard, that's another floorboard, and they meet right up the middle of here at the centre of this corrugation. So it's quite a good job I chose these big wide brackets. I was just going to choose ones that were little tiny things that came like that. But the reason I chose these is so I could avoid the screws in case I ever ended up having to go over a screw. But it seems to have worked out fine here, and I'm gonna like join across the bottoms there and definitely at the top. So I think it'll be absolutely fine. Yeah, you can. I don't know whether you'll be able to see on the video, but I know I can see some of the effects of condensation. It's quite late now. It's pretty cold in here. I've come after work to do as much as I can fit in. What's the temperature of a humidity sensor here? It's 81% humidity, 4 degrees. We've gone up, it was 3 degrees before. Practically tropical. So yeah, I'll get back to you with a bit more when I can. Okay. Okay, so this is a massive jump forward in time. I've been coming after work most nights, trying to get as much done as possible. I decided to change the way I'm doing the brackets. So now I've got one either side, and I like to painstakingly go along and take all of the ones that are originally like that and that out. I've managed to replace that all the way along now. So behind that wood they're all replaced. Got a few more sort of loops done. Just because I figure once I get the plywood or whatever on the front, I'm going to want it to put straight up and be flush with the floor, especially if I'm putting a floor in as well. And same at the top as well. I've replaced the ones that came out of these 4 holes, 8 holes, like that and that, with these side ones so I can get the plywood straight up and put it in like that. So that should save me time in the long run. I didn't do this originally because I didn't think it would be strong enough, but I mean it moves left and right, but I can hang off that, so it's not going anywhere. It should be absolutely fine. Now I want to sort of join in sideways. This one's not screwed in yet, I'm doing that one next. But I've done a few on this side. Sort of doing one up, one down, one up, one down. It's probably going to get a bit fiddly when I get to these corners. I've had a bit of a think about what to do here with another piece of timber. And I don't want to cover that vent up because I want to use these vents. So I'll have to drop it right down and maybe bring a piece underneath it. And then get some sort of box, like vent thing. You can buy at DIY stores to sort of bring it through the plywood and make it look neat. So yeah, that's probably going to be the fiddliest bit. Same at the other end as well. I think it should be easier at this end with the double doors. There would be a loop here, but I haven't done it yet. And then it would have to come up to, you'd have to have a piece here, but this pin's in the way. But I think I've figured a way to do it, and I'll probably show you that when we get around to it. But yeah, made fairly decent progress so far. Got quite a lot of these in. If you take a step back, you can see it's a bit dark obviously, but getting there slowly.